in, flying out, hard in the wall. Now looking to the inside of Corey James.
Welcome, everybody, to the Checkered Flag Talk Show. We had a little bit of a tech issue to begin with. Technology doesn't always work like you want it to. Either Johnny jinxed it or Lance jinxed it this time. I'm not sure who to blame it on. But nevertheless, we are on and we are on live. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We not only have Lance Lejeski on, Texas Motor Speedway flagman, but we also are going to be talking about the incident that happened with Danica Patrick the last half hour of the show. That is going to be a lot of fun. We'll get started with you, Lance. How are you doing, man? Thanks for being on the show, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. It's enjoying the weather here in the great state of Texas. I'm doing fantastic.
How is the weather out there in Texas? We've had nothing but cruddy weather out here.
Yeah, I think I saw one of my friends say, "Here comes the 40 days and 40 nights for y'all," and it's a nice sunny 8 degrees out here.
Oh wow!
Right on. Well, hey. So how did you get started in the wonderful world of racing, and give us a little history lesson, and flagman, how did you become a flagman?
Well, starting from the top about racing, my parents and my grandparents and my uncles, they all kind of started getting into NASCAR in the 80s, I guess, about the time when a lot of other people started getting in. And so, eventually I came around, and my older brother and I and my parents, we spent a lot of time, on Sundays watching the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on ESPN and TNN and, so on and so forth. And it just became I guess, like how some people, they grow up watching football, every Sunday. It was kind of the same thing with me, except it was racing, NASCAR. And my first race that I ever went to, in person, it was not a NASCAR race, it was the ARCA race in 1993 at the Texas World Speedway, which is not too far from College Station where Texas A&M University is, and that's where I saw my first race. And Darrell Waltrip won that race, and 1994 was my first NASCAR race at Talladega, and then 1995 they announced that Texas Motor Speedway would be built in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And 1997, I went to the first race at Texas Motor Speedway, and I've been going to races there ever since. And that's it's been a good while. And I was about 8 years old then, so now I'm 22, and that's how I got started in racing. And as a kid, watching the races from the stands, as a kid, your attention span is not that long. It tends to wander off, and so I would just start watching the flagmen from my seat, and I noticed with several of them that there was, but there's something to that. There's more than just holding the thing out there, And I started watching it, and I started watching the NASCAR starters, and I started watching the IndyCar starters, and I noticed, the IndyCar starter, that guy, he just looked like he was in control of that race and just was enthusiastic about it. I was like, man, that guy really is, intense about where he's at and what he's doing. And that's what really got me interested in the flags. And my parents eventually bought me my first flag set. It was a legitimate flag set. But that was when I was about 10 years old, and they were bigger than I was, so I really couldn't wave them. So set those things down, and a few years later, interest came back again, and I started picking them things up, and I started paying attention to what they were doing and how they were waving it, and the meaning of the flags, and it took off from there. And by 2003, I just sent an email as a kid. I was probably 13 or 14 years old at the time. I sent an email to the contact email address to Texas Motor Speedway, just asking, maybe could I just bring those out there? Would it be okay?
Wow.
I didn't want,
Wow.
to get in trouble with that. And they said, sure, just don't poke anybody with them or anything like that. And I brought them out there to a qualifying day with the NASCAR Craftsman trucks and the Indy cars. And that day I met Brian Howard, who's the Indianapolis 500 chief starter and the RL chief starter. I met his assistant and co-flagman, Paul Blevin. They're both from Southern California. And really those two guys did a lot as far as like helping me learn what to do and learn to be a starter. And by that summer of 2003, I was going to the Legends races at Texas Motor Speedway. It's just like I was with that qualifying day. I was standing down there by the flag stand waving my flags, watching the flagman in the tower. And I did that the next summer in 2004. And at that time, the general manager for the Legends races in the dirt track was Brad Gilley. Y'all may have heard that name. He's now a pit road announcer for PRN for the NASCAR races. And but at that time, he was the general manager of Lone Star Legends. And he had seen me before, and he knew that I was, interested in wanting to do that, and seemed pretty serious about it.
So wow,
he said, how would you like to, flag a race or two? So I said, well, sure, heck yeah. So by August of 2004, I started flagging my first two nights out there at the racetrack.
Wow, what was that experience like for you? Your first time out there. Were you nervous at all, or?
I think the latter was what was freakish. I'd only been up in a flag stand once before that. Thanks to Brian and Paul, they
real
let
quick,
me go up the ladder after that. But
I hate to interrupt you real quick.
That qualifying night.
I hate to interrupt you real fast, but I actually have to because I want to make sure that people know that tonight you can actually chat with us in our chat room at www.checkeredflag.tv to ask us questions. You can ask us questions in the chat room tonight live. So that's where you can do it right now. Sorry, man, continue. I just wanted to put that out there.
No, that's fine. No problem. And so anyway, climbing up that ladder for me was kind of challenging because up until that point I was very high, so I had to get used to that pretty quick. To throw that that fear away, and that left pretty quick. And but the thing that struck me initially was, man, that's a good view. You can see the whole track from up here, and that was the impressive thing. And then I learned just from that night, the flagman that had been flagging the Legends races, he was there helping me in the flag stand. So he showed me how to count laps and keep track of the lap count, because that's important as well. Because this track, the little Legends track at Speedway doesn't have a scoreboard, so you don't have that scoreboard to look at. So you just got to count on your fingers and toes.
Wow.
So that's one thing I picked up quick, and it has stuck with me. I'm usually dead on with the count nowadays.
Yeah, I was going to say that must be tough. You're at a bigger speedway. Johnny could see, but so that must be really tough to keep up with the laps and all that.
Well, I kind of explained to you a little bit, Shannon, about what Lance has got going on. He doesn't basically do the 2-mile track. It's the, what is your track, Lance? It's a quarter mile.
Yeah, well, it's actually the one just outside the super speedway. What we know is Texas Motor Speedway with the NASCAR races. That Legends track is 1/5 of a mile, and then we have a track on the inside on the front straightaway, connected to pit road. That's a quarter mile.
Okay.
And that's the one you work with?
Which one do you work with?
I've actually worked with all the tracks at Texas Motor Speedway. I've done the 5th mile. I've done the quarter mile on the inside. I've done the road course, the infield road course inside the track. I've worked dirt races there, and I've actually done a race on the mile and a half.
Wow.
Wow, right on.
I don't think many people can say that they've done all 5.
Well, that's quite a that's quite a thing. So out of everything that you could do in racing, I mean, there's racing a car, there's an official, there's an announcer. I mean, what was it about flagging that hooked you in?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it was just something about watching how those guys, just how they do it, like, and noticing that there's more to just just this a limp wave, I guess, and that's what got me into it. Was just like the enthusiasm, especially like with Brian Howard, and then later on, learning through other people, including him, that there's more to it than just the flagging. He told me, because when you get a flagging job, he goes, when you're working this thing, you're not going to be thinking about how you're waving that flag. You're going to be thinking about caution lights being off and everything like that. Everybody's lined up, stuff like that. So then it's about running the race and trying to make it a fair game, for everybody, and also a show for the fans. Mm-hmm. So, but that, I mean, I'm keenly interested in that as well.
Yeah, I don't want to jump real far ahead here yet. I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit more with when you first started. I'm just now approaching my 27th year as an official at doing stock car racing, and it pretty much flagged anything and everything that's worked in our area or in California, pretty much from TQ midgets to sprint cars to stock cars to bombers to street stocks to legends. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I could kind of think back at as you're telling your story and how you entered into being a flagman and stuff. It kind of sets me back to my days beginning in being involved as being a starter, and some of the stuff that I went through when I felt the first time I was at the racetrack in a flag stand. And what was the people any factor in you doing your job at all? I mean, did you? I mean, I remember sitting in the flag stand doing hot laps and thinking, God, this is an easy job, and doing time trials, and that was all pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, turn around and look at 1,500 people look you in the face, and going, oh my gosh, there's people here. Did you go through that same type of feeling when you started doing your flagging?
I think it was one of those things at the very beginning, at first, and it just had to be a clear message in my mind. You're not up here to look at them. You're up here to look at the track around you. So, and even today, that's what I tell myself. You're here to look at that, nothing else. But if there's a red flag, obviously, you get kind of bored with looking at the track, especially if there's a long cleanup.
Sure.
Turn around and see who's here, what kind of crowd you got. But yeah, at first it was a little intimidating, but I got over it pretty quick.
Yeah, you're so high up there in your flag stand. I've been on flag stands that have been real high like that. I've been on flag stands. I think I flagged. I'm probably on about my 6th or 8th different racetrack that I flag on throughout the year. And being that I get to travel around, each flag stand's got its own unique little way and stuff. If it's from where the buttons are to turn the lights on or off, or from what you have to deal with and stuff. But do you ever hear, being that you're so high up, do you ever hear the crowd yell and scream at you and tell you what you're doing wrong or right? Because we all know that we never do anything right.
Yes, even this weekend at the 5th mile, we had some fans, and you can hear them yell because since it's a small little track and the stands are like literally right there behind me. I can hear them. I can hear them over my headset and everything like that sometimes.
Right.
So
I know that we never get the credit we should get. It's like the bad news travels, but the good news never says. You could have I tell my drivers and stuff. I say to them in pit meetings and stuff, I'm only as good as you guys are. You guys go out and you put down 30, 40, 50, 75 laps that are good, consistent laps, and there's no bumping and banging. I walk out looking like a star. So make me look good, and we'll make you guys look good.
But I bet you don't drop flags though, do you? Just kidding.
I bet you have dropped flags.
Or maybe you have. Have you dropped a flag? Johnny has. I never let him live that down, actually.
Well, I've dropped a flag, and it was not during a race event. I was flagging a driving school for Legend, and it was a simple little thing. I hit something on the side of the flag stand, and it was on the inside of the palm of my hand, and when it hit, the natural reaction was to let go of whatever was in my hand, so the flag just slowly fell down right up against the wall, the car drove by. They missed it completely, but I was having a hard time getting the other side of the track to pay attention that I had just dropped the flag because we weren't using radios. They finally got someone on a four-wheeler over there. It was my boss, and I come down, he gets the flag, and he goes, "What are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Man, you know, it happens, once in a while."
Oh yeah, it does happen once in a while. That's for sure. I mean, I think you even caught one on my video that I had posted on YouTube about when I was up in Eureka flagging that, I was doing a double checkered and one of it got caught on the fence. Well, it ripped it out of my hand, then I caught it real quick again. But, stuff like that happens, especially in quick, back in the 11 seconds. So you can imagine that you have 11 seconds to make up your mind on what you're doing. And when it gets stretched out so fast, you'd be throwing a white flag 1 minute and all of a sudden there's a leader right there. And, you got to switch out real quick. And so, you drop things. It kind of happens.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. And, I'm dealing with almost the same time. It's a 13 second on the
Right.
fifth mile. And it's about 16 seconds. So, I get a little bit of leisure on that track on the quarter mile, but on the fifth mile, it's 13 seconds. So, sometimes things snag, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just rip it out and just keep waving.
So here's another question, and Johnny touched on a little bit earlier about the fans and always being so happy with certain calls. How do you handle something like that as that comes to you? I'm sure you've had people come to you and give you their unpopular opinion or whatever for lack of better words.
Well, that's a good question because just yesterday something like this happened, and I was telling somebody about it, and I said, in our sport, and when I say our sport, I mean the short track racing. It's no different than high school football and high school baseball and stuff like that, and even Major League Baseball. Well, we do not have instant replay. We have to make a call right then and there. If it looked like someone spun someone out, well then that's the call we got to make. Then later on you may find out, well that guy will say, well, he never even touched me. There's nothing you can do about it. You just say, I'm sorry. We'll just try better next time. Try not to dwell on it, and that's all you can do. But when people get upset, you just let them vent. Say, you done? They can just keep yelling, cussing at you, and just let them get through. Because that's what racing's about with these guys. It's nothing. It's not really leisure. It's high. It's high emotions. So you just kind of let them vent that out. Later on they'll calm down about it.
Yeah, very, very high emotions.
Very high emotions.
Yeah, very high emotions. I've dealt with it as an announcer. Even just me up there and I'm giving a simple information out. For instance, this car driver had to go to the back of the pack because he had to get a tool out for his car, and I got somebody come and saying, "That's BS," and you know it, and they're yelling at me, and my favorite saying is, "I'm just the announcer." Mm-hmm. That's my that's my claim to fame. So we only have about 3 minutes left. The last half hour we're gonna get into the Danica Patrick thing. We'll ask you about that in a minute. But what are your future plans? Are you future plans to actually flag for mainstream NASCAR or anything like that?
That's something I've been thinking about for quite a while. I would love to flag the Indianapolis 500 because I feel like that's like the upper echelon still in motorsports and for officiating, especially like the starters, because there's a pretty much almost like a walk of fame of famous starters that have flagged there. So I would, if the chance ever came somehow, I would love to do that. But also, I would also like to do NASCAR. That would be fantastic. I know that just recently NASCAR had one of their Sprint Cup starters, Rick Monroe. He just recently retired, so there's kind of some questions, who's going to replace him. Most likely not going to be someone like me. It's probably going to be someone, inside the Sprint Cup garage already that's had some flagging experience. But that would be something incredible to do as well. Just working for NASCAR in my mind, whether I would flag or not, would be a thrill.
Is your department that you work in, are you NASCAR sanctioned at all?
No, sir.
No.
Okay.
Houston Motorsports Park is NASCAR sanctioned.
Right. Because I think to try to get into that area, I've asked the same thing. I've touched on you and told you about this story when I flagged with Brian back in '86 at Lakeport Speedway, and he was telling me, man, you need to get out of here. You need to go do something different. You're a really good flagman, and you need to go on. And I really at that time, not being I was really really super young, but I was young enough to think that, man, I am going to stay right where I'm at. But how would you go about getting that next step into that next level? I mean, I don't really understand. I've talked to a lot of people that've been up there. Tim Watson, he's flagged for USAC, or not USAC, but whatever it is. The I can't think. It's ASA. I think it was ASA West, Northwest, and he had some friends that moved up into the Busch Series. But do you think it's basically from what would be the Busch Series now? What we call Nationwide Series now. But anyway, is that how you work up into that level?
Yeah. I was talking to Jimmy Howell, who used to be the Sprint Cup Series flagman from 1997 to 2004, and I realized with him that part of it is who you know. There's a lot of things that are said nowadays. It's about who you know to get in, and part of it with him is who he knew. I mean, he knows David Hoots. He went to high school with the guy. David Hoots is as you know, it's the competition race director for NASCAR for the Sprint Cup Series. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when you know these people like that, I mean, and there's, I guess, an opening, something like that, but hey, we'll just get our buddy Jimmy in there. And part of it's that. I think NASCAR's kind of moving away from that now. It's pretty much now, I would think, it's about first getting in as an official somehow. NASCAR wants you to be, proficient in teching race cars, and you'll probably have to be a pit road inspector or something like that. But you could also tell them, hey, I know I have a flag. If you ever need somebody, to fill in for a session or two or whatever.
Yeah, it's not just one. There's just not one job description, and that's what I was aware of too. I think. You may be driving the NASCAR hauler to the next racetrack and be the flagman, or you.
Oh, really?
Wow. Oh, yeah. They're multitasking officials. They do a number of things.
Okay. We gotta let you go in just a few minutes here because we're gonna have open lines. In just a moment, we're gonna show the video of Danica Patrick, the Danica Patrick issue that happened. And I wanted to ask you before we let you go. Thanks for being with us today. By the way, I really appreciated it. Mm-hmm. What's your thought on that whole situation?
Well, here's what I'll say. I think with Danica, I think she just needs to stick to one and go with it. And when I say one, I mean she needs to stick to either IndyCar or NASCAR.
Yes.
Because Bristol is not her cup of tea, and I mean you need to be well versed in short track racing in general, just to probably do well there. So. I actually didn't really see what happened exactly, but, I know she was having some difficulties in practice over the weekend with that. It's pretty much for her about getting seat time. I mean, you don't get a whole lot of seat time in one weekend there. So, it takes, years of experience.
Yeah,
right
and I think you could pretty much sum it up by saying, folks, that's Bristol.
Right.
Because that's what Bristol's like.
Well, speaking of, and I want to say thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it, man. We got to let you go. We got about 26 minutes or 27 minutes left. However, thanks so much for calling in, man. I really appreciate it.
Lance, I'll give you a call later on, probably sometime this week. We'll talk some more, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, no problem, guys, and y'all have a good one.
Mm-hmm. Thanks
you too.
A lot.
Thank you so much, Lance.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye. That was Lance Lejeski, man. Girl, what a talker! Wow, he kept us going.
21 years old. Been
21.
He's
21 years old.
16,
wow, I should have
years
asked him about that. Didn't ask him about that. We're going to show in just a moment, Johnny. Talk about that in a little bit. We have actual footage. We have the actual footage of what happened with Danica Patrick. You know what? Why don't we show that now? We're going to go ahead and show that right now, and we'll do commentary afterward and your call-ins. 707-462-1407 on your thoughts. Check this video out, and it's the exclusive, courtesy of NASCAR.com.
It's Danica Patrick, the first time this year she has tagged the wall.
Okay.
She was running in the 17th position, 2 laps down.
It's just one of those things here. One of those things off the corner.
She's
She's mad, man. Look at that. She's going to get out on the racetrack. She is like, what is going on, dude?
I didn't see him do anything. I didn't see Truex do anything there.
I mean, to know for sure, I'd have to see the replay a couple times to look. But, I mean, what it felt like to me was that it felt like to me I came out of the corner and I was just running down the straight, and it felt like he came off the wall. And I don't know if he had a tank slap off the wall, like he was pushing up and then it snapped on him and he came off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt right there, but I know I was running him early, and it was just, he just runs hard. You know, he just runs hard. He ran hard. He's run hard every time I've been around him, and it just seems like overkill. Like, if your car is good, you'll go forward. If your car isn't, you'll go back, and that's just what, you know, that's just a lot of NASCAR. I'm just disappointed. You know, I felt like actually this was a pretty decent run at Bristol for the first time, and got caught out a little bit with the tires on that first stop that we stayed out and got up high and got eaten alive. But I don't think it was too bad. So you know, just disappointing to not get the finish. I had such a good run of finishes that it's disappointing to leave for a couple of months with this kind of a thing. But that's Bristol, I guess, you know, and it gets the best of them. Any track, really, you know, you just don't finish the race because something happens, and I'm just pretty disappointed.
Okay.
And that was the video of the Danica Patrick incident. Your thoughts, give us a call, 707-462-1407. Also, open lines to talk about whatever you want. Ukiah Speedway, Lakeport Speedway, we've got some great seasons happening this year. We open up on the 2nd in Ukiah. And do you know when Lakeport opens?
Not sure, not positive at all.
Okay, I know they're having the car show.
Maybe somebody calls in.
Somebody calls in and let us know. Yeah, call us in and let us know. 707-462-1407. Johnny, I want to know your thoughts on the whole thing with Danica Patrick, and I'll give you mine soon and my little recap, if you will.
It's just like we were talking with Lance Little. I think basically what it is, it's Bristol, baby. That's what it's all about. It's short track racing. They've made Bristol a little bit. They've kind of taken away most of the rubbing and bumping and banging. But look, you know, you're in a half-mile track or 3/4 or whatever exactly it is, and you know you're going around that fast that those guys are. You know, she chased it up the racetrack a little bit. He wobbled a little bit, and
he
they
meaning
made
contact.
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Truex. Yeah,
Ryan Truex. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Ryan's little comment in the radio, and because I watched the race and listened to him, and he basically said, "Well, that's Danica. She never does anything wrong." And I think once Danica pretty much took a look and saw it on the thing, she probably thought that hey, look, he didn't really do a whole lot wrong. It's just they come together, making contact and spinning.
Yeah, I liked our guest's idea of her sticking with one. You know, I don't know. I honestly thought that, in my opinion, I thought she did much better in IndyCar racing.
2 weeks ago, she finished third at California Speedway. I think it was that they ran at, or Homestead, or one of those tracks. So she's doing a pretty good job.
No, she is. I give her that. You know, she was as you saw in the commentary there, you could tell she was a little bit temperamental.
She's a competitor.
Yeah, exactly.
She's
a true competitor. I mean, the girl. Yeah, you know, that's just how it is. You know, she wasn't feeling the situation.
Racing for first
and then
second,
and then the going. Walking out to the track and going like this, and how she actually walked out onto the track, waited for his car to go by to show her dismay, that she was not happy about the situation at all.
I think I really think that once she saw the video, that she probably figured out that there was not really anything intentional that he had done, that that she was more at fault than he was at fault. But like I said, that's Bristol. That's what happens. And you touched on one car or the other. I think that's the key point right there. She needs to race. She races a 1,800 pound car in an Indy car, give or take probably 500 pounds, to race a 2,800 pound or 3,800. So you're looking at 1,500 pounds difference. So
exactly.
They're two different track cars. They're two different animals. And her seat time, I think, is developing her into being a race car driver.
Really, I mean, you don't think that there's a possibility of burnout status? I mean, the fact that it could just be that she's competitive. Mm-hmm. But I mean, do you think that part of that's
Hey, she's like I said, if it's racing for first or second or for last place, 43rd to 42nd, it doesn't make a difference. She's out there to race and she's to pick up spots, and I think that she's doing a really, really good job. I mean, like I said, she broke a record that NASCAR had for 60 years, and that was the first woman to finish in the top 5. And she finished third. So she's got potential without a doubt.
Right. Well, like I said, if anybody's got one that wants to call in on that. 707-462-1407 is the call-in number. Of course, our sponsors that makes this all happen here. S&K Automotive, located at 1765 Main Street in Lakeport, thanks to him. Number is 263-3542. Give him a call for all your vehicle needs, whether you need an oil change or whatever.
That's where I go.
Oh, yeah, that's where you go too, right?
That's where I'm going,
right?
For sure.
Right. And then, of course, we have Fast Lube Plus right here in Ukiah, located North State Street, 765 North State Street, right here in the heart of Ukiah. Thank you so much. And, of course, Girlfriends right on Lakeshore Drive in Clear Lake. You actually can't even miss it. When you see it going right by there. Girlfriends, thank you so much for our sponsors. So, Johnny, I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about your thoughts this year. I'd like to have your thoughts this year on some of the upcoming events at Ukiah at Lakeport. We'll start by talking about Ukiah Speedway. Ukiah is doing some great things this year, and I've been asked about it. And we talked a little bit about the four-banger class when we were at the Boathouse Bar and Grill Daytona party, but I want to maybe elaborate a little more on it, and you can explain what it's all about, because I still don't even know.
I've kind of glanced through the rules a little bit. I know it's a front-wheel drive class. Yeah, it's basically kind of a fall-off class of what they've been doing up at in Eureka with their what they call their Roadrunner class, or what David and Danny are doing over at Lakeport with that class of cars too. I think it's basically the same thing is what they're doing. And I think it's going to be an affordable classic car that's going to bring a lot. It's going to be a good foundation for younger people to get involved in racing and not have to spend a lot of money to get himself started in a car on the racetrack.
Exactly. And if anybody has any comments on this or anything that we've talked about, again, 707-462-1407. Yeah, so explain a little bit more. Do you know anything more about the four-banger class other than just that?
Other than it's just like a mini stock, but it's a front-wheel drive classic car that's supposed to be pretty much like I said, Lakeport, and they run up there. Me personally, it's kind of the wrong person to ask about what's going on, because I really
that's okay. You actually kind of do hibernate. When you're not flagging. Oh, hello, you're on the air with the Checkered Flag Talk Show.
Hey guys, it's Danny Helm.
Danny.
Hey, Danny, how
you doing, man?
All right, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, we're doing really good.
Hey, Johnny, I heard something about that four-banger class maybe being kind of like a figure eight type thing.
Really?
I know that that got brought up there too, and being with the conditions of the track and stuff, I don't know exactly. I know that with a new configuration that it's built into the track that there'll be a paved figure eight at Ukiah Speedway. As far as what they're doing, if they're going to do that, then they'll be racing through the infield in the dirt. But I just talked to Blair today too, and I didn't really find out elaborate. Both Bob and Nadine I talked to today too, and really never elaborated on the four-cylinder class. So it's about as new to me as it is to anybody else that's not really aware of what's going on yet.
Right.
Hey Danny, now that we have you, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if you had heard or
I heard something about the figure eight. Yeah, that it would be figure eight, but how that's going to work with racing through the dirt, and then back up on the racetrack again, if that's going to be what they're looking for or what they're not looking for.
For those of you who are actually just watching and don't know a lot about racing, Danny Helm races himself, the number 96.
And it was also a co-worker with me.
He was flagged with you also. And there was nights you were actually doing double duty, wasn't there?
Well, actually, my brother runs the 96.
Oh, your brother runs a 96.
This is the one that helped me flag. He's
Ah,
the official.
Okay.
And he does run it.
Okay, Dan. Yeah. Well, me being wet behind the ears and new to racing, it's easy to confuse me. Right on. Right on. So, off that, let's get on to. Do you have any thoughts on the Danica Patrick situation? Did you even get to watch that?
I didn't even really get to watch it. I saw the replay that you guys just had.
Mm-hmm.
like Johnny says, I mean, that's just Bristol.
That's Bristol. Actually, they've taken a lot of it out by configuring the racetrack. It used to be just a mayhem. I mean, it was, you start out with 43 cars and end up with maybe 3 or 5 or 10 on the lead lap with half the field tore up.
Right.
Well, I mean, even at that point, you look at, what, she was 17th, 2 laps down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what that's Danica, though. She's like that. It doesn't make a difference with her if it's racing for first or second or if it's racing for 43rd and 42nd. She's out there to gain the respect, and she's a competitor, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
she shows it when she puts her hands up, being her fault or not her fault. I really believe that once she looked at the video and saw that she was saw what she saw, and then she probably changed her mind a little bit and thought, well, I was coming up the racetrack quite a bit, and he did bobble, and we did make contact, but as far as it being deliberate, come on, Danica.
Right.
Let's go back and look at the maker.
It's back to the whole competitiveness in racing. I don't know if, in my opinion, if anybody really wants to admit if they were in the wrong on the racetrack.
I'll tell you what.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead, Danny.
I mean, it does happen. I mean, there's, it just takes somebody a little while and actually get a chance because, what you see on the track and then what you see on TV afterwards are two totally different things.
Exactly.
Well, you know that as a race car driver yourself, being an official and seeing a three-dimensional object go by comparison to being in a race car being one dimension, that's what's in front of you,
Right.
And it's easy to get lost in a race car. I mean, I raced for 5-6 years. I know what it was like to be in a race car and thought that I didn't do no wrong either. But to go back and look at the video and go, wow, okay, now I see why that happened.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time I still get in one, and I go back and look at videos. I mean, I see stuff where I had messed up. Speaking
of why we got you on, what is your plans this year for? Are you racing this year? Are you working? What's going on?
Well, I've been, I'm working over at Bill Ben's machine shop there.
Right.
And
as far as racing, though,
moving right now. So
are you gonna be doing any officiating this year? Or are you planning on racing your bomber or what?
I haven't. I'm still pretty undecided. I just got a lot going on right now.
Right.
So
totally understand.
The racing things just kind of had to be set off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
It happens sometimes from time to time. I hope we get to see your son. He's a great, too. He's an awesome kid to be able to work with. Justin.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Justin's just a real gem and awesome to work with up there. I could maybe see him following your footsteps as a flagman or maybe even racing.
Yeah, he's wanting to get into these four bangers.
There you go.
He is really? Wow.
Yeah.
There we go.
So that's why I'm wondering, how it's going to be configured and how it's going to be ran. Maybe look at getting something built for him.
There you go.
Right on. Well, yeah, maybe after you're off the phone and anybody else can, when you're done, anybody else that wants to call in, 707-462-1407 can let us know a little more about these four bangers.
Well, like I said, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and take off. And
okay.
Thanks for your call, Dan.
Thanks so much for calling in, Danny.
No problem. Talk to you guys later.
See you soon.
Good night. Bye. There we go. Waiting for him to, took a little long to hang up. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, 707-462-1407. Maybe you can let us in on this little four-banger mystery. While we're doing that, I want to talk about some of our announcements. Of course, you can catch us right here every Monday night on Mendocino Access Television, Comcast Cable 3, and then, of course, I would like to give Channel 8 a shout-out, too, because LCP TV Channel 8 out of Lake County plays us on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Jed's still down there. What's up, Jed? Giving you a shout-out. Yeah, we got, and, of course, anytime, check www.checkeredflag.tv to actually be live in the chat room. The chat rooms are always live and open this time of night. Again, give us a call, 707-462-1407. Want to go into another announcement, Johnny. Some things happening around the lake. There, you know what I talk about a lot. I do it. I'm involved in it. Live pro wrestling, Johnny, happening at the Brick Hall, located at 16374 Main Street in Lower Lake. 6 p.m. on the 26th. You're not going to want to miss it. It is to benefit a program called Bayberry, which pretty much houses and caters to people with disabilities that live in their own houses, and they help them out with stuff. Awesome program. I've been involved with them for about 10 years, and we're going to help raise money for them. As we know, the economy is really bad right now, so any money that can help. So, and you had something too. You said to me earlier.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do that. We'll do that next week.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that one next week.
Talk
Sure.
more about it.
Right on, Johnny. So let's talk a little bit about now we mentioned some of the Ukiah Speedway stuff. Got to give Lakeport a shout out too. They're part of Northern California.
Sure.
Let's talk about some of their stuff they got going on. They've got this brand new class that is the Extreme Asphalt Outlaws. There's a lot more that have been built. I had some more pictures sent to me actually, and they're pretty nice looking.
They're nice
Wade
looking
Coleman has one. I've talked to Wade Coleman I talked to Wade Coleman today. He's pretty busy. We're hoping to get him on the show, but he's pretty busy working on this car. It's a sweet-looking car.
Oh no, I saw it on Facebook. It does. They're definitely an interesting, looking car. I'm believing that I'm hearing now. There's 9 of them that are built to potential 15 or so. Yeah, they're gonna be a neat little class. They're gonna be up in the air. I still, the only thing that I have to kind of wonder, that anytime that you talk about an affordable class, it's easy to race and affordable. I kind of think to myself, you put racing on it, then you take the affordability right out of it.
Yeah.
And these are supposed to be an affordable car. They may be affordable, but they're expensive as much as they're basically.
Oh,
a
I'm
late model.
sure. Yeah, they're basically a dirt late model racing on asphalt. That's the way I see it.
I think it's anytime that you can change it up for the public to watch something, I think it's going to be a great deal. I'm really curious to see how they're going to work. I know. I believe Thomas Wright's got one, and to me right now that he'd be my favorite to win just about every race there. He's got a great car builder, and Dana that I'm hearing, that could be hearsay, but Dana's building him a car, and Thomas is a great shoe. I mean, he does really well, and it's just all up in the air.
Kyle Telstrom has one. I've talked to him on the
Dave
phone
Jones
quite a bit.
has one. Dave Jones came to me today asking to use my trailer that I sold. So there's a handful of them out there.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get out there. They are. And so let's switch gears. Talk about some of the new stuff happening at Ukiah this year. I'm real excited about some of those things, and you can elaborate a little more on it. The late models has a division also. That's they're Legends.
Well, yeah, they're piggybacking with the airport.
They're piggybacking. They're INX Legends, are they?
Yeah, they basically can go both ways. With INX, they're not. I don't think it's a sanctioned thing through INX that is.
Okay, they're not sanctioned through INX.
They're just basically piggybacking with the Airport Auto Broker Late Model Series, which will be, we're in Roseville, in a couple. 4 weeks. We're about a month away right now. They'll be up at Shasta. We got 6 races in Ukiah with them. And it sounds to me like they have a ton of.
Check this out, and we have a very lovely assistant, actually, very lovely assistant. She's going to be bringing us from the chat room a question from the chat room. Hi.
Wow, how pretty
cool.
Yeah,
very lovely assistant. Wants to know who is all here. Well, Johnny Mistel's here. I'm here, Ace Naylor. A little bit earlier, we actually just had Lance Ajeski on, flagman for Texas Motor Speedway.
Why I call him Jared, I don't know, but I think it's on his Facebook.
Lance I think
Jared or something.
It says Lance Jared Ojeski. I think all.
Okay.
Hey, you can call us back too if you're hearing this and we get it wrong. Please call us back and correct us. No problem.
Talk about the Danica thing a little bit. There was also another big incident that happened that was really controversy this weekend with the Nationwide Series, with a lady that was supposed to race in the Nationwide, and she's basically what they call a start and park person. And what basically a start and park is they qualify for the field of cars. They go out there and they race. They do about 3 or 4 laps, then they park the car. Well, Shannon, check this out. She got so mad that she had to start and park that she told her car owner, "I'm not racing," and walked away.
You're serious?
Yeah. So, there's another controversy thing that's out there. If anybody knows more about that, feel free to call in.
Yeah, feel free to call in 707-462.
About that.
1407. We have about 6 minutes left, and I've got a comment on that. Now that I know that, that to me, I'm sorry, but that is just not how you pay dues in the racing business at all.
At that level, that's what they do. And NASCAR does it a lot, and they've done it for the last probably 20 years. And that's basically they field to field, and they get paid good money. Just to start and park. So, and that's part of their R&D program. They'll go out there and it frees up a little bit more money to them spend some more money down the line. You're not beating up the equipment. You're taking about 4 or 5 laps.
Well, exactly, but you're not.
But
you're
it's
also
not good to be that person.
No, it's not good to be.
She wants to race.
No, but that's fine. But it's also not good to. It's also not good to get off to that kind of start. we've had many kids on here that are very humble that I've had on here that have started out racing in cars and have told me they were helping their dad and helping people bring wheels and stuff. It's not a good start if that's what you're putting off. That's just my opinion on the whole thing. Hopefully she'll, it's a growing experience.
That's been a controversy in racing now for the last 10 years is to start and park people because it does take away from, if you're fielding 43 cars and all of a sudden you've got 5 of them that start and park, you're not really fielding 43 cars. Now you're back in the 30.
Yeah, that's
range,
true.
And it doesn't, those guys are just as well needed, especially in short track racing like our level. We need the slower cars as much as we need the faster cars, or we wouldn't have a show. If you had nothing but fast cars in there, then who's going to want to come out and watch?
You know what I was doing, Johnny, before, of course, I was announcing. I got in, obviously being an announcer for wrestling and boxing and MC and other stuff. I got noticed that way. But when I was at the racetracks, I was watching as a fan. You know what I was doing? I was helping clean up. I was sweeping and helping clean up, put things, and doing that. I think there's always a thing of earning dues. That's how I've always been.
Well,
I guess,
and that goes back to the same thing with we were talking with Lance and how he started.
Yeah, exactly.
And sitting in this grandstand. Chris Straka was another one. Mimicked me for a lot of years when he was a little kid, and look what he's turned into doing and moving up into the rankings of
you got
many stocks,
idols,
to late
don't you,
models, and now he's got what he's doing now.
Yeah.
So, it's you got to pay your dues, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, you got some idols too out there, don't you, Johnny?
I don't know. Probably more enemies, I'm sure.
Well, no, you got some idols from the announcing.
Uh-oh.
Our text said the girl. Our text said, I want to thank her, by the way. Terry Larson is back, our executive producer, and she's teching tonight. Got to give her a clap. Finally got her back. Finally got her back up here from Arizona. You rock, Terry. Thank you so much for tonight, and want to give her a shout out. But yeah, exactly. They do. That's true. The girls do like to gawk at you. And I'm the only guy up there in the announcercer's booth, so I've got the one that's got to put up with it.
That guy throws the flags really
It's a minority. let me tell you. I'm not in on that one. So
okay.
I'll put your mind at ease. I'm not in on that one.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, people. Never mind. It's
right.
a family show.
Yeah, okay, yes, it's a family show. Again, 707-462-1407. We have about 2 minutes left for the last caller.
You got a question coming.
Oh, I think I have a question coming from the chat room. Our lovely assistant.
But anyway, back to that lady that was taught that didn't decide that she wanted to park and stop. I think I read briefly that she's probably got picked up a ride by not racing. So hopefully her career works out well for her.
And this is actually we had her on a show before, and this is actually the birthday girl. She's actually 5 years old now. She's the birthday girl. So happy birthday from all of us at the Checkered Flag Talk Show. Can't wait till the season, racing wife. This is from Sally Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you so much. And Sally, yeah, she can hang out here with us for the last couple of minutes. Why not? Having a cute little face on the show. Birthday girl. Sally, how come you're so afraid to call? We used to love hearing your voice, Sally. We missed you. We missed your voice. Give us a call if you 707-462-1407.
Boy, I'm looking forward to racing too.
I am. I'm very much looking forward to this year. It's going to be really awesome. Like I said, we open.
I hope we just have the weather. The weather's going to be the big issue.
I think we'll be okay. We're 3 weeks away. I don't see this. Think positive. I think, like Nadine said, it's gonna on when we had her on the Boathouse Bar and Grill show. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be 80 degrees outside.
Hopefully, I mean, definitely.
It's gonna be 80 degrees. This storm stuff will all pass.
Aren't you looking forward to getting yelled and screamed at?
Yes, I am, and I'm gonna have I'm looking forward to getting yelled and screamed at, and you know what? But I'm gonna have a winning attitude.
There you go.
Winning. Yes, I'm gonna have a winning attitude. I'm sorry. You know what? I couldn't resist. I had to do that. Anyway, thank you so much for calling, folks. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody that called in, and also everybody that for our guest. Mm-hmm. And stay tuned. We'll let you know on our Facebook who we have for next week.
Great. Thanks.
It's just one of those things here. One of those things off the corner.
She's mad, man. Look at this. She's going to get out on the racetrack. She is like, what is going on, dude?
I didn't see him do anything. I didn't see Truex do anything there.
To know for sure, I'd have to see the replay a couple times to look. But, what it felt like to me was that I came out of the corner and I was just running down the straight, and it felt like he came off the wall. And I don't know if he had a tank slap off the wall, like he was pushing up and then it snapped on him and he came off. I don't know. I don't know if I'm maybe giving him the benefit of the doubt right there, but I know I was running him early, and it was just, he just runs hard. He's just runs hard. He ran hard. He's run hard every time I've been around him, and it just seems like overkill. Like, if your car is good, you'll go forward. If your car isn't, you'll go back, and that's just what, you know, that's just a lot of NASCAR. I'm just disappointed. You know, I felt like actually this was a pretty decent run at Bristol for the first time, and got caught out a little bit with the tires on that first stop that we stayed out and got up high and got eaten alive. But I don't think it was too bad. So you know, just disappointing to not get the finish. I had such a good run of finishes that it's disappointing to leave for a couple of months with this kind of a thing, but that's Bristol.
Flying out! Hard in the wall! Now looking to the inside,